Welcome to the October 2025 update of the Heroscape Modern Power Rankings. In this update, I'll be inducting the 12 newest figures whose street date is today, and updating 4 existing units' rankings. Let's hop on in and go through those units. First up, we have the newest pirate hero, Crimson Widow, who is debuting at a B. She lets you convert a unique squad to a pirate via higher crew, which gives them all pirate synergies, and wants to have the X order marker on her in pirate builds to trigger the +1 melee attacks for pirates via Pirate Commander, and to move other pirates once per round on her bonding turn via Midnight Raid. Those are some great additions to the pirate faction, but she is quite expensive at 150 points. A very good set of powers, and probably part of several, if not all, of the best pirate builds at this point, but the cost, plus the fact that pirates are still going to heavily struggle into good common spam, means that she's fairly capped and ends up at a B here. The other pirate card this release is Dreadnoughts of Caraway Cavern, who also clock in at a B, as a 2-life melee unique pirate squad of 3. They reuse pirate bonding in the form of the Captain's Way and Captain's Orders, and they get Mortal Blow, which is a stronger version of Master of the Hunt's Mortal Strike, as it can now inflict additional damage on multi-life squad figures and common heroes. A very solid addition to the Pirates army. I'd be surprised if many pirate builds pass on these guys. At 80 points, they're fairly reasonable for what you get, and pirate armies really need the bodies quite badly. I think that the best pirate core is in the B tier, so that's where these guys land. Next up, we have possibly the most confusingly worded figure in Renegadescape, Deflectatron, who arrives in at a B-, partially because I just have no idea what to do with him, and in part because I'm still reading the card trying to figure out what he actually does. Orbital deployment means he doesn't start in the start zone, but you can place him later in the game, which is good, but he must be placed within 3 spaces of a friendly figure, so you can't just yank him into the opponent's start zone early on in the game. Passive is a negative power, and Magnetic Deflector Shield is about 3 powers in 1, where it blocks auras for figures adjacent to him, and kind of gives him an auto shield versus ranged attacks, but somehow none of that matters if he's next to another copy of himself. Holy hell, that's a lot of words. I'm going to put him at B- for now, just because I'm not sure what his best army is, or if that army even really wants him at 25 points. But someone please figure out a good use for him and let me know what it is. That'd be very helpful. Giants Among Men, the Great Bow Archers debut at a B. A 2-life, 2-person common squad with range 7. They have 3 attack normally, but a semi-weight then fire-like power, where if they don't move, they get 4 attacks at range 4 or higher, and 5 attack at range 7. These guys are definitely good. I considered both B and B+ for them, but ultimately settled on B as that was the same tier I already had micros in, and I think they fill a fairly similar role, and might have a tough time competing with the common spam of the best B+ units. Micros might actually be better into common spam with the extra attack per turn. It's possible that these guys might be better into heroes, though, with the potential bigger attacks. They're inherently limited by being a 2-person squad, so you just can't kill more than 2 things per turn, no matter what. But they are going to be quite potent openers, and they have the ability to throw a lot of dice at something important. Next up is the Triumvirate of Baby Dragons, collectively known as the Scions of Icaria, who I'm giving a C+2 for now. If you pretend Greenscale Warriors don't exist, they almost seem playable. They choose a bonding hero via Cleave to the Mighty, just like Greenscale Warriors do, but they have a few more options in the form of being able to pick an Archmage, King, or Queen. They have a special attack, which you'd think would be good, but they can only attack things within 3 spaces of their bonding hero with it. Generally, you want to play those bonding heroes conservatively, and not get within 3 spaces of dangerous stuff, so that's a massive limitation on them. They also clock in at 75 points, which is 25% more than Greenscale Warriors, despite base 2/2 stats and no ability to increase them. I considered all the way from B- to C- for these guys, and I could honestly see them settling anywhere in that range. Like, they might be useful to something like AOA Sonlin, who doesn't have access to Greenscale Warriors, but they're also just clearly worse than green scale warriors for anything that could go that route instead. Now we have the cream of the crop from this release, the Gelry Vanguards, who managed a prestigious B+. A 4-person melee common squad with 3/2 base stats. Their calling card is Tidal Advance, where all of them can move before every round, 1 space for each order marker on their card. Think the Death Chaser's Battle Rush, but every round, albeit a little less far. It's a great power. They also have Defend the Deep, which gives them 2 extra defense on water or when their opponent has height, which means that they want to play a little differently than normal, as they'd prefer to be on low ground when getting hit. And they have Swim, which means they can move through water. These guys are legit, and probably want to be run at 5x in order to achieve their full potential, as moving all 20 of them before round 1 is just amazing. I think their best cheese army might be something like Gelry X5, Raylan, and Krav, which is 510/24, where they can either open rush and get 20 figures moving 4 spaces, or go with the ranged piece early and get smaller free development each round until you're ready to switch over to them. To go with the Gelry, we have Krakenling, who has movement bonding with their Tidal Advance, but I'm putting him a tier lower at just a B. Krakenling is sort of a mini Hydra, as a 3-life common hero that can attack once per life left via flailing tentacles, and has some neat movement powers for himself and other figures via Warp Space and Eldritch Switch. He also has the same swim power. He's definitely good, but I think I mostly find myself just wanting more Gelry instead of splashing him in there, and then probably a ranged component instead of him if I'm already at 20 Gelry. So I think that the Gelry build with him is just a bit weaker than without him, and that's why I'm putting him a tier below them. Moving on to the Dryan faction, Marishot Mind Whisperer joins the party at a B-. Like all the Dryans, Marishot has Command Familiar. A low base attack of 1 is buoyed by Staff of Kuroparian, if I'm saying that right, which gives 2 auto skulls to each attack, which is roughly equivalent to just having a normal attack of 5 without that power. Marishot's Whisper has the potential to take a turn with another unique hero, similar to what Mind Flayer does. A solid Dryan, Marishot is still going to be outclassed by common spam in most cases, but the 2 auto skulls is a nice floor, and the Whisperer power has nice upside as well. I wasn't sure if Marishot was better or worse than Awashia in the abstract, so I ended up just slotting them in at the same tier for now. Next up, we have a Dryan I think is worse than both of those, Garushia, Grove Keeper, who got a C+ on this particular quiz. Command Familiar is the standard Dryan power, while Wicked Thorns and Reach make Garushia a tech piece of sorts into small and medium melee units, potentially stopping their movement and wounding them if they move adjacent, while Gift of the Forest provides an avenue for healing on some maps. The tech value of Garushia could make this a strong piece in certain draft pools, but it's very weak to range, and so I think that's enough of a limitation in Bring 1 formats to get ranked a tier below Marishot and Awashia. Dryans need their beasts, and we get a new one in Chana the Zenith Wing, albeit not a good one, as I have Chana as a C unit. Stealth flying is nice, but the base stats of 2/3 are just not good, and the alleged highlight is Renew 12, which can heal a wizard, but it's instead of attacking, and only hits 40% of the time, meaning you're passing on an offensive turn from, say, Onshu, to try the 40% chance to heal 1 wound, which just isn't a very good trade-off most of the time. The weakest beast so far, in my opinion. Tipping the scales 1 tier higher, we have Vrono the Brambletooth at C+. Thematically, Vrono is similar to Garushia, with Sharp Thorns being a slightly weaker form of Wicked Thorns. I think Vrono could have some use in a multi-beast build, where you place him somewhere annoying and then leave him there, and then bond with Onshu or some other offensive beast for the next few turns. Vrono has decent survivability with 3 life, 4 defense, but little offensive value with an attack of just 2. I think this is stronger than Chana, but weaker than Onshu and Kita for the points. The last and best new member of the Dryan faction is Halushot, Corruptor of Beasts, coming in at a B. Unlike the other Dryans, Command of the Wild lets Halushot bond with 2 beasts instead of 1, and they can be large. That means Halu has access to Ice Troll and Swag Rider as potential options as well, and can double bond with Ice Troll each turn. Double Ice Troll attacks of 5 while healing each turn is a ton of offense into a lot of builds, and can definitely assassinate key pieces quite effectively, but is still going to lose to most good common spam. Halu has solid survivability at 5 life, 4 defense, and has a ranged special attack that can be used in addition to her normal attack, meaning that you can get 4 attacks per turn with a double Ice Troll turn, or 5 attacks with 1 Ice Troll and Onshu, which is a lot of attacks from a hero-centric army, and gives Halu a lot of upside there that most of the other Dryans just don't have access to. Halu Shot also has Flying and Calm the Beast, which is a defensive boost if being attacked by a beast. I think the matchup limitations into commons are going to keep this out of B+ tier, but it's definitely at least a strong B unit. That's all of the new figures, but I've got a few existing figures having their rankings updated. The first 2 updates are linked to Halu Shot, as I think they get stronger with her addition to the meta. Ice Troll moves up a tier from B- to B, where Halu is. As already mentioned, double Ice Troll bonding is just very good, and Ice Troll's ranking needs to align up with Halu Shot now. Onshu also joins them, moving from B- to B. There's an argument Onshu should have been here already, with Halusha already being a B tier unit, but it's even clearer now, in my opinion, with the introduction of Halu Shot. Onshu is the best offensive beast bonder for the Dryans, and a good backup offensive piece for Halu Shot for when one of the Ice Trolls inevitably goes down. The last 2 units that I'm updating today are Venic Vipers and Venic Warlord, both bumping down from B to B-. I was convinced that I probably had these guys a tier too high, so I'm dropping them down to where I think they should be. That's all for this update. I'd love to hear y'all's thoughts on these additions and changes, and I will catch y'all again at the next update.